around this conversation of building a third temple, but he certainly extended. And he said, the Temple Mount is in our hands. Now, he said that in that famous statement.
The Temple Mount is in our hands. We are in Jerusalem, and we are here to stay.
The building of the third temple in Jerusalem,
In a picture that stunned the world, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu strode underneath the Al-Aqsa Mosque, accompanied not by soldiers but by archaeologists, engineers, and a small group of rabbis. This was no political gimmick religious pilgrimage. It was the most unmistakable signal yet. Something long debated, long promised, and long delayed was finally beginning to happen. The underground rooms of the Temple Mount, usually hidden from public view, suddenly became the location. Century Netanyahu's trip there wasn't random, it was heavily planned, and it happened discreetly in June 2025. No public declaration, no media frenzy, but to those who were watching, the message was out. The groundwork for the third temple has officially begun, and yet what exactly did Netanyahu examine down there? Why are some archaeologists, engineers, and even spiritual leaders calling this the most significant spiritual shift since 70 AD? Stay tuned. Before we go on, please do bear in mind to subscribe to our channel. We reveal to you the latest on biblical archaeology, prophetic events, and revelations unseen in plain sight. Now let's explore further what's really going on. Before Netanyahu's visit within the Al-Aqsa compound, there was a secret summit held in Jerusalem. It was not held in the Ness or any political physical office, but in a closed room near the Davidson Center, just south of the Temple Mount. Invited were Israel's chief rabbinate, members of the Temple Institute, senior-level Israeli Defense Force advisors, some international observers from Europe and the U.S., and particularly some key archaeologists. They included Dr. Dan Bahat, a one-time chief archaeologist of Jerusalem, and representatives linked to the Ron Wyatt legacy, a contentious figure who decades before had made some claims in discovering artifacts associated with the First Temple, the Ark of the Covenant, and Mount C. The purpose of the meeting, an oft-debated archaeological discovery, had at last been verified. A secret platform directly beneath the dome of the rock that both ancient texts and new scans indicate may have been Solomon's actual foundation stone of the temple, with political tensions high and religious sentiment around the mount even higher. Netanyahu reportedly spoke the words that altered history. If we tarry any longer, we deny history. We're not constructing above, we're constructing below. As shocking as it appears, the first phases of the third temple's construction are not taking place above ground. Instead, a network of tunnels, chambers, and pillars of support, partly natural, partly recently strengthened, is being tapped below the Temple Mount. While this seems impossible in the face of tensions around the mosque above, Israeli engineers, under the cover of religious sanction and protection of military secrecy, have started to prop up trucks' main underground spaces. According to leaked reports, the Temple Institute and the Western Wall Foundation already prepared a series of restoration works that correspond with prophetic motifs in Ezekiel 40:43. Here, notice what one official explained to me in a subdued briefing. We're not replacing the mosque, we're fulfilling what was prophesied, added on to history, not against it. This technique has brought world controversy, but in an unexpected twist, it has also created unanticipated discussion with moderate Islamic scholars who assert a peaceful existence can now be reached that was unthinkable only a few years ago. According to Scripture, the building of the third temple is greater than a religious or historical event. It is prophetic. In Daniel 9:27, the prophet declares he will confirm a Covenant with many for 1:7, in the middle of the 7 he will cause an end to sacrifice and offering. This implies that sacrifice and offerings will have to be restored, something which can only be achieved once a temple exists again. In 2 Thessalonians 2:4, Paul warns he will oppose and will glories over all that is spoken of or is worshipped as God, so that he grounds himself in God's temple, calling himself God. These verses, theologians have long agreed, mean that the third temple would need to be rebuilt before certain end-time events take place, and now that reality is beginning to shape itself stone by stone under the very ground where Solomon originally built the first temple and where Herod expanded upon the second. Though ridiculed by most mainstream archaeologists in his day, Ron Wyatt's assertions have never really gone away. He famously asserted that the Ark of the Covenant was concealed in a chamber under the Temple Mount, guaranteed by God's providence until the time was appropriate, and today new LAR scans and high-tech geophysic mapping seem to be confirming some of Wyatt's hypotheses. Some of the chambers under the mount, sealed more than 2,000 years ago, were rediscovered, one of them as reported. Anonymous sources in affiliation with Temple Institute matches Wyatt's description to perfection. It is a question of dramatic significance. Has the Ark been found already? No public announcement has been made, but the timing of Netanyahu's downfall and the instant silence on the part of principal officials has led many to think that something sacred is already safely in custody, waiting for its appointed time. For years, the Temple Institute in Jerusalem has been preparing for this time. They already possess golden menorah, the showbread table, the priestly robes, the crown for the high priest, and the incense altar. These are not symbolic imitations. They are actual, laboriously built to biblical specifications. And now sources tell us that a number of these vessels are already being rolled toward the underground temple area for ritual testing and installation. One eyewitness account reported seeing a covered wagon being led through a closed security gate adjacent to the western wall tunnels, its contents unknown, but the timing was unmistakable. No surprise then that the responses have been intense. The United Nations has demanded an emergency session. The Vatican released a coded message invoking respect for common sacred ground. The Islamic world, not least leaders in Iran and Turkey, are outraged, condemning Israel for desecrating a holy place. But what is interesting is that some voices of moderation are now urging dialogue instead of war. A group of scholars from Saudi Arabia and Jordan recently issued a statement stating, if this temple is not built on top of our mosque but alongside it or beneath it, then perhaps it can fulfill prophecy without violating sanctity. It's a breathtaking turn and perhaps a prophetic one. Jews have prayed at the Western Wall for 3 millennia, reciting next year in Jerusalem. Now, for the first time since 70 AD, Jerusalem isn't just a prayer, it's a building site for prophecy, and for Christians everywhere, the implications are immense. The reconstruction of the temple is directly connected with the second coming of Christ, the Antichrist's rise, and the end countdown of Daniel's 70th week. The clock ticks, and now the pieces are put together. Netanyahu's subdued walk under Al-Aqsa was not political, it was prophetic. The construction under is not engineering. Its fulfillment and the rediscovery of holy relics is not coincidence, it is divine timing. Jesus once cried in Matthew 24:34, "Truly I tell you, this generation not pass away until all these things have happened? Could it be that this is that generation? Until next time. Shalom, and may your eyes be open to the days we are living in.